Hi, I'm Andrew Holzman. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I work at Family Tree Counseling Associates in Carmel, Indiana. I'm available at 317-457-8668 or aholzman2 at comcast.net. That's AHOLZMAN 2 at comcast.net. And if you wish to call me or talk to me or email me, I'd be happy to take your call or email. And I'm calling this video Fighting with Dad. Now, fighting with Dad in a way is a misnomer for me because I really did not fight with my dad. He passed away, he died when I was pretty young. And so the experience I had with my dad was a very nice one and a very big shock when he did die. It was sudden, he had a heart attack, and I was 10 years old. So I did not have that chance to really test myself in that way by having confrontations, conflict with him, which some would say would be a good thing. Why do you want more conflict in your life? Why do you want more confrontations? But when I think about my father, and I miss him a great deal, even after all these years, I think of many things. And one of the things I do think of is I never really got the chance to talk to him in that way and to fight with him in that way and to resolve things, hopefully, in that way. Now, it's possible these things would not get resolved, but it's possible they would have, given that we were father and son and that we loved each other. Some people do not have that experience. They fight and they have cutoff and they disconnection and they never talk with their family, and try as they might, they never get the chance to have any kind of resolution or rapprochement with their parent, with their mother, with their father. That's a very scary, hurtful, difficult experience, and it creates long-lasting effects not only in the person but in their relationship with their spouse and their relationship with their children. As you can imagine, if you have that kind of conflictual, difficult relationship and you grow up expecting that kind of conflictual, difficult relationship, then you might continue that unless you really get some good therapy under your belt or good insight under your belt. You might continue that because you expect, as much as you hated having that relationship, you expect to be listened to because you become very opinionated, you become very strong-willed, and you want your children to listen to you the way that you had to listen to your dad. So it's a very interesting situation that often we become the very thing that we do not enjoy and do not love. So with my dad dying at such an early age for me, it created a strong sense of unease, a strong sense of that the world could at any moment come down with a strong hand and change things. And I've lived with that my entire life, that level of worry and anxiety. I have worked on myself to the degree that I don't deal with it in such a way that it shuts me down, but it is a constant reminder that, you know, things can happen, and that's a worry. That's a worry when you lose someone so young. I wish he would have lived to meet my wife, to meet my children, to meet my new grandson, but that wasn't so. And one of those kind of things when you lose someone so young is you wonder, well, what would life have been different? How would it have been different? And that's a hard one. It's like one of those time travel stories. If you go back and change something, then does your life get better? Does it get worse? Would I have the family I have now? Unlikely. Things would have changed so radically. Who knows what I would be and who I would be and how things would be? That's an impossible scenario, an impossible situation. But even still, you think about those kind of things and you worry about those kind of things and you fantasize about those kind of things. So this is who I am, and I enjoy who I am, and I love my family. I saw a British film called About Time a few years ago, and in About Time, the men in the family could travel back in time and sometimes change things, and they all have that ability. And the young man in this film found out when his dad was terminally ill that he could keep on going back and talking with his dad and reliving the best experiences and kind of enjoying that time with his father, which would be just a wonderful idea for me. When I saw that film, it really affected me. It made me cry. Um, I realize that, like I was saying before, that sometimes when you have a parent, it's not the greatest of experiences. My own brother had a lot of cutoff with my dad and a lot of disconnection with my dad because my dad was a traditional guy. He was a person who was born in 1920. So you can imagine he grew up within World War II. He grew up in such a way that, the 50s, things were the way they were supposed to be. Certainly there are people that way today. That hasn't changed much. But my brother, being a child of the 60s, that changed things for him, and their relationship was not great. But even still, I wish I would have had the chance to have some conflict, because I grew up in a way with a very loving and caring mom, which is wonderful, but I didn't have a chance to really have a lot of conflict and a lot of way to test my mettle until I got married, which is interesting. And so I found someone who replays for me dad issues and issues that I need to play out and work out and somehow have a voice and somehow be able to say things that I need to say. So family issues can affect you in lots of ways, whether you have that conflict or don't have that conflict. If you've had that conflict and you don't want it, you may find a way not to have it, or you may replay it. There's no particular, it depends on how much work you do. Depends on how much therapy you have on your belt and how much, how distasteful conflict is to you. Conflict is something that we don't want, at least intellectually, but sometimes we need. Sometimes we need to figure out who we are by saying no, by changing the way things are going and having a voice. So I know developmentally the most important word that a child can say is no, because it defines the inside and the outside. It defines who you are and who you are not. So being able to say no is a powerful experience. When my dad died, I shut down. It took a long time to realize that my silence and my pain, which I kept inside, and my embarrassment, which I kept inside for being the only person I knew who did not have a father, was deadly. It took a long time. It took a long time for me to realize that and to come out of that. Many years, in fact. Luckily, I had some ways to express myself, and I did that through art. I would draw, and that would reflect my feelings on the paper. Other people write, they journal. Other people can dance. Other people play music. There's lots of creative ways to find expression in this world. And it's motivated me to find ways to talk about this when I finally realized what my pain was. And even in high school, I was searching out recovery books and therapy books and finding ways to think about this and realize how important it was, and realize that talking about who you are and being in touch with those things, in touch with those feelings, makes a difference. So my father's death changed my life. I might have gone into business with him. I might have done something totally different because I didn't have this pain. I can't complain about my life, but I am sad that I had to have the trauma and the issues that come up from it. And it's unchangeable. It's not changeable, but it is something to think about. And it's something to realize that, okay, well, this defined who I am. And I believe in terms of families, what family you have and what kind of conflict you have defines who you are, defines the issues that you might have. And if you're cognizant of them, if you're aware of your feelings, if you're aware of the issues that came up in your family, if you're aware of the anxieties that were created, or the loss, how that affected you, or the trauma that's affected you, then you have a voice and you have a way to talk about it. So if I just react to my issues and my anxiety and my sadness and not let the people I care about, the people I love, in on what I'm going through, they're just going to see me being this person who's always feeling and always reactive. And I don't really get any kind of empathy or any help that way. But if I share what I'm going through, if I can bring it into some kind of consciousness, so even it makes me think, even when I was drawing, when I finally learned to talk about what I was drawing and share what I was drawing, that makes a big difference. So being a therapist helps me have some empathy, helps me work on myself in some ways, but in working on myself, I get to realize that others are working on some of the same issues. And that's my story of fighting with Dad. The fighting really is going on inside of me. The fighting is because of the loss, because of the trauma, because of the fantasy of what might have been, the issues that didn't happen, the relationship that came about because of it, the relationships that came about because of it. So all in all, can't change anything, nor would I, but all in all, it's something to think about, and something to think about in terms of my family, especially on this day, which is Father's Day. And even if you're not watching this on Father's Day, you are someone's son or someone's daughter. You are a child of someone, and you have those issues. So thank you for listening. Again, my name is Andrew Holzman, 317-457-8668, or aholzman2 at comcast.net. Look forward to hearing from you if you so wish, or if you wish to comment on this, please do. Thank you.